Hi guys, welcome to Full Time Devils. I'm Adam McCullough. We're outside Old Trafford in the rain. Well, we're around the corner from Old Trafford in the rain, and the team news is in. The team is as follows: David De Gea, Damian Smalling, Blind, Borthwick, Jackson. Then we got Schweinsteiger, Fellaini, Ander Herrera, Mata, Marshall, and Wayne Rooney. Strong lineup from Louis van Gaal. What do you make of it, Steve?
I have no idea how that's going to line up, mate. I'm assuming that's going to be the 4-2-3-1 that we normally rock, which means it's Ander Herrera, Mata, Marshall as the forward three behind Rooney. That doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, but it's all right, I guess. I would have liked to have seen Schneiderlin playing. I think our decent or improvement in form has come from the fact that Schneiderlin's been playing. But that being said, it's a League One team. If those players can't do it, then they need to hang the shirt up, I think.
Very, very true. Surprised to see Louis van Gaal go with such a strong team and not maybe rest the likes of Schweinsteiger and Rooney, who are going to be key for us against Newcastle and Liverpool.
I don't think he can afford to rest too many. We've seen with Liverpool, didn't we, that you rest too many players, you bring too many youngsters, inexperienced faces in against a lower level team, and you can get caught up. It's happened to us plenty of times, even under Louis van Gaal. So I'm glad that he's gone strong. I'm glad that he's given the cup the respect that it deserves. That team's strong enough to go and do it. It's not a first choice team. I don't think Fellaini's a first choicer, even though he played a lot in December. I don't think he's a first choicer under Louis. Schneiderlin's been left completely out of it, so I think he's got his eyes on him being key on Tuesday night. I agree with you on Rooney, but I do expect Marshall, Rooney, Mata, some of those to make way for Pereira or Memphis later on in the game, and we'll see how it goes. But I have heard, before we get on it, that boxes have been reintroduced at training. You like pig in the middle, keep ball. And apparently Rio was saying that was his favourite thing when he was at United, and he's not done it under Louis van Gaal, and now it's back. So I would expect a little bit more pace and a little bit more cutting edge in that final third. And let's say this is a Giggs thing. So Giggs has had a big influence on bringing this back. So I'm excited to see if we make much more of a difference. I know it's a League One team, but I think this is going to be a good thing for us on the pitch today.
Signs that Louis van Gaal is adapting to Manchester United in the Premier League, or signs that player power is taking over, or signs that Ryan Giggs thinks is the manager?
Yes to all three, probably. I think it's a little bit of Louis letting go of the reins a little bit. Maybe he's been told to let go of the reins a little bit. It's a little bit. It's definitely a sign that Ryan Giggs is getting more influence in the dressing room, which is a good thing, because when you looked at us in the early season, you go, what's Giggs doing? It doesn't look like Louis talks to him at all. Anytime that you see the camera zoom in on him, Giggs is just sat there in his own world. It's like he's his own little thing. So if Giggs is getting in the mix and he's getting more involved in training, that's only a good thing for his development as a coach. But if he's going to bring some of those things that he saw be successful at United back, and if he can, that's the job of an assistant coach, isn't it? The coach is the head coach is the big bad boss man, and an assistant manager needs to be the buffer that argues with him on behalf of the players a little bit.
Carlos Queiroz used to do the same, didn't he? He was probably the best assistant we've had in our time, although we had Steve McClaren in the treble, probably in spite of him. But
Brian Kidd the same, he'd have arguments with Fergie all the time. And people used to love his trainings, and Steve McClaren a similar way. So
Carlos Queiroz got Fergie to adapt in Europe, which got us that success, and we probably wouldn't have got the title in 2008, the European Cup, if it wasn't for Fergie adapting to Europe. But does Louis van Gaal in that sense have to adapt to the Premier League, and if so, could his assistant manager be key in that?
Absolutely, definitely. I mean, I think Ryan Giggs has probably not done himself a great deal of favours by being so unanimated on the touchline, because we know what he was like when he was coach for those first 4 games. He almost never left it. People place a lot of emphasis on what happens on the touchline, which for me is the wrong area to focus on, because I don't think as a player goes through one-on-one with a keeper, he's going, is he stood on the touchline? No, I don't think he's doing that. I see a benefit for it when you feel the need to change something. When a game's 0-0 with 5 minutes to go on there, give the permission to go forward, give them the permission to start doing more stuff. But I don't see the benefit of standing on the touchline the whole time. But if Ryan Giggs is getting more in the mix, and he is going to start doing that, he is going to start giving instructions and feedback to players, that's only a good thing from everyone's point of view. It makes it look like the bench cares.
What was you just talking about again? Sorry. You spoke. I had a question based on that.
Assistants. Boxes.
I totally forgot my question. It was quality as well. FA Cup, yeah, FA Cup's quality. We've won it 11 times. Obviously, Arsenal overtaking us now in the record books. We're no longer the top dogs in terms of the FA Cup titles. We haven't won it since 2004. So 11, 15 years, it will be this May. Is this a competition that you enjoy? Do you want to see us go out there and win it? I absolutely love this. I remember in 1999, the cup final against Newcastle was on my birthday, on the way to the treble, and that day was one of the best days of my life. Cup final in 1996. It provides us with great memories. 94 beating Chelsea 4-0.
The problem with the FA Cup is that it's been devalued by the rapid expansion of the Champions League. The Champions League, it's not the World Cup, mate. It is the Champions League, is the pinnacle of football. You win the Champions League with your team, your club, you are the best in the world. The World Cup comes around once every 4 years, and it's by luck of birth, isn't it? The Champions League, it's there every year, and you know who the top teams in Europe are. And because that's been so accessible on TV, because there's 4 teams from the big countries in there playing it, it gets all of the attention. The FA Cup used to have that. But for me, it still does have elements of that. I think you could improve the FA Cup by giving you a Champions League space.
I was about to ask that.
You could improve the league by giving the 4th place to the FA Cup, because I think it's up to the individual FAs how they distribute what they get in terms of qualifications. So they could say top 3 makes the league more interesting, getting the Champions League, and the 4th place, now you go into the qualifier for winning the FA Cup. That would be awesome, because then you get the smaller clubs going for it, the bigger clubs that still need to win it. And it's a top day out at Wembley, innit? It is silverware. It's not on the same level as the League Cup. For me, the League Cup is a nothing cup, and I do like to see us promote youth in there and try new things out in there. But the FA Cup is the FA Cup. It's the most famous cup competition, domestic cup competition in the world.
I remember what I wanted to say before.
Go on, then.
Remember when you were talking about managers on the touchline and Louis van Gaal on the touchline? Yeah. The same people that moaned about Louis van Gaal not being on the touchline are the same people that moaned about Berbatov not running all over the place like a headless chicken and all that stuff. I just don't get it. People have their own styles. You just have to accept them or not. If Louis van Gaal wins us a title, it's going to be off the back of his style, the way he manages.
Gary Neville stood on the touchline for all of his Valencia games, and it's not really helped him, has it? They've lost.
Not a good draw against Real, but so what?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But they've not. It's not improved or decreased their performance.
Steve McLaren stood on the edge of his touchline with a brolly looking like an absolute dickhead when England went out. So you can stand there all you want. You're not going to get anything out of it. Obviously, it's always nice to see Louis van Gaal going absolutely nuts. We saw it for Holland. We've seen it for Bayern Munich. We've seen it for Ajax. And that's the Louis we thought we were going to get. That's the thing.
That's what I don't understand. And that is a criticism that I can level at him.
He's older now, though.
Yeah, well, he's not that much older. It was only a couple of years ago when he was on the touchline, 18 months ago.
When he was doing the fly kicks at Ajax and all that stuff.
But you've seen that famous photo of him and Van Persie from the World Cup. Wasn't exactly long ago. That's in colour, that photo. That's not a black and white photo. And he's come to Old Trafford, and he didn't do that from day one. So I understand people's frustrations with him, but I think they're focusing it in the wrong direction. I think the frustrations you've got to focus on, the team just needs to show a little bit more risk in that final third, because we're set up strong all the way through them first couple of thirds. The final third, it ain't working at the moment. But I think the players have to shoulder quite a lot of that responsibility themselves. Take a bit of risk, take a bit of chance, and we're going to smash it. And today, it is a League One team. There are potential banana skins in the FA Cup. I'm confident we're going to do this today, and we're going to do this well today. 2-3, 4-0. Happy days.
The team again, guys, is David De Gea, Damian Smalling, Blind, Borthwick, Jackson, Schweinsteiger, Fellaini, Ander Herrera, Mata, Martial and Rooney. Borthwick, Jackson getting another start. We opted for Varela, didn't we, in our team predictions? I thought Varela would get the start because he's been the better of the fullbacks. What have you made of Borthwick?
What I like about Borthwick Jackson is he's a diet version of Shaw in a way. That he's going to go to the byline, he's going to get crosses in. And I think that's what we liked, that's what we saw Ashley Young doing last week. He was getting success from his crosses because he was going down to the byline and he was crossing from his right foot. That's the issue I have with him when he's played on the left, is that he always goes to the byline, but he has to cut back, and that gives the defence time to reset. The forwards don't know what they're doing, and it's just better football. It's more cutthroat, it's more ruthless. When you get into the byline, you're whipping crosses in. That's why I like Jesse Lingard, because Jesse Lingard does that from the right-hand side, whereas Mata likes to come in and drift in. If Mata's playing centrally today, we might see a bit of that. Herrera don't mind going to the byline and crossing.
I love that. I think Herrera and Mata love the little switch, don't they? They often switch. They know each other's games. They do well. Anyone you fear from Sheffield United, they've obviously got Billy Sharp in there. Top goal scorer.
Billy Sharp is a born goal scorer. It's amazing that he's never really found himself in a Premier League team, really, or
championship, top championship.
He's just never really been the flavour of the month. But I got a few mates that are Scunthorpe fans, and they will worship the ground that he walks on. He scored some great goals for them, and he was a guy that would get you a goal almost on a weekly basis for them. He's a good player. He's getting towards the end of his career a little bit now, but he's the only one that I think is going to is do any damage. And it's the same old, same old. If we can put it on him in the first 10 minutes, get a goal, we can then sort of relax a little bit, and we'll find ourselves scoring 2 or 3. If it gets to half-time and it's 0-0 and we've had 18 shots, then it's going to start panicking a little bit. And then as the game wears on, there's going to be more and more chance that they're going to nick that goal on the break, because they have got some speed in there, and that's when the problems and the upsets are likely to come, I think.
9 games, or is it 10 now? I'm not sure. 9 or 10 games since Manchester United have scored in the first half at Old Trafford. You think if we fail to do that again today, Sheffield United are going to build their confidence up and think they can cause a shock? Their fans are going to get behind them. They get a bigger allocation for an FA Cup game as well, don't they? So they'll be making a lot of noise in there. That said, what's your score prediction?
I'm going to say 2-0. I'm going to say... Yeah, come in, man. I'm going to say 2-0. I think we're not going to score in the first half, the first half of the first half. I think they're going to sit really deep, and you've seen how easy it is to keep United at bay when you do that. So I think they're going to sit really deep, and we're going to get one just before half-time, and then middle of the second half, make it 2. But it could be several if we start off well and we get it nice and early.
Score prediction?
Maybe possibly a replay, but it could be another 2-1 incident. But I don't think we'll score in first half. Maybe wear defence down over time, but I think it'll be in second half we get first one.
Cheers. I'm going for a 3-0 United. I think we're going to score. It's going to be 1-0 at half-time. We're going to wrap it up in the second half. These lot are making loads of noise. We're out of here.